Hey guys, welcome back to Liberseed on the Liberseed Project. This is Josh. So we've managed to figure out and start cutting all this grass back. You can see I've started to do paths and there's a hell of a lot more grass to cut. So I'm going to show you what I bought. Now I'm really proud of this just because it's dealing with my problem, but I think mechanical stuff is just an expense to maintain. So this will potentially be a future side hustle, a way to make some money. But here it is. It's a sit-on lawnmower, but it's a kind of a special kind. It's called a Solo by Alco, and it's quite nice, to be fair. It's quite expensive, but this is one of the few ones where you can cut grass when it's wet, when it's thick. Like some of this grass that we've got here is like turning into wood. So this can cut like a meter 5 grass, kind of no problems. It's taken an hour to do, I want to say, probably about an acre, maybe less, maybe more. I'm cutting it at sort of the highest setting that you can cut, which I actually don't know how high that is, but judging by this grass, it's not dramatically, it's not really high, it's not really low, to be fair. I'm just walking now. I can show you kind of the edge of blast of the land that we're on. But it's quite a beautiful area. All these trees around. As we're cutting, the land was originally maintained by some tractors, and apologies for the wind here, just going out a bit more away from the trees, but just bear with me. So the tractors are causing bits of dirt like this, and I think the tractor used to maintain it. The guy who drove the tractor used to maintain this area when it was kind of free, he wasn't doing anything else. So it was probably when it was raining. The ground was damp. So as I'm driving this sit-on lawnmower, I'm shaking like crazy on these places. But it seems to be handling. It seems to be doing alright. So this is kind of one of the edges of the land. And there's also just over there, this way, there's another 1.3 hectares. A hectare is 100 meters, about 100 meters. I think it's about 2.6 acres. I might be wrong on that. I think it's about that, a little bit less than 3 acres. And that's all grassland that's overgrown like this. So you can see how I needed to have some sort of alternative method of cutting the grass. Normally I scythe, that's what I used to do in my garden at home in Wales, but that's just not sufficient. I can't cut it essentially with this kind of length of grass with a scythe. Probably to get it to lawn standard, you need to cut it twice. Cut the top off. Like this, as you can see, this is like thick wood, and this lawnmower is going maybe 5 miles an hour through this, cutting it, and it seems to be no problems really. But there's also lots of trees here with little trees like this. So as I'm driving, I'm trying not to cut that. It's petrol powered and kind of just keeps going. It's built to a standard where you drive it, you drive it. It's got a 10-litre petrol tank. It just keeps going. So for this sort of thing, it's also not too big. So going through paths like this, where there's trees either side, well, it's kind of actually perfectly suited. But there's some beautiful trees on this property with some birds everywhere. I'm seeing all sorts of butterflies, some big hairy caterpillars. There's a ton of slugs. I know you're probably not so interested in slugs, but yeah, there's all sorts of... There's flies as well. I've never seen flies that actually just land on you and bite you, and it's surprisingly painful. It's more than a bite of a mosquito. And it's causing me to have like blood on my legs. I don't know if you can see that. That's just where I've slapped it and killed it as it's biting me. Some other trees, I don't even know what these trees are called, but I think that's a sort of pine tree. It's beautiful, and I think the person who owns this land originally put the trees kind of sporadically to try and stop other farmers from using it, because she didn't use the land like regularly. It was just like an extra. Basically, in Lithuania, people, they have like land like this with houses like this, and in the UK and maybe other parts of the world, people have like caravans, static caravans, or motorhomes in which they go and spend their weekends in the summer or weeks off on holiday at, or like a house on the beach. A lot of people in Lithuania just have houses in the middle of nowhere in which they go and they just grow food. Like, Lithuania is known for being like a potato land, and it's just perfect climate to just grow potatoes. So I was actually here a couple of years ago, and this behind me, which is thick grass, was actually just rows and rows of potatoes, which is really nice. I'd love to show you the edge of the pond. Is when the pond was dug out, which is that side, sorry. When the pond was dug out, it was just these mounds that go around. So that's one of the mounds, and that's the side where I was showing you the other day in the first episode. But there's also like loads of... This is strawberry. I don't know whether it's wild strawberry, but I saw it at the front of the house as well. I don't know whether they planted it or where. Strawberry is one of those plants where it grows, it produces another shoot, which then goes back into the ground and develops its own root system. And then you've got 2 strawberry plants. And so, obviously, if you've got some of these in the ground, they can just spread. And I don't know whether they call it invasive or not, but I suppose it's the same way. I believe. I thought this was dill. Dill is a very common herb that Lithuanians like to produce, but it doesn't smell like dill, and it's actually quite thick. Dill usually grows, and each part that branches out is a bit more separate from each other. So yeah, there's a lot of strawberries here. In Lithuania they call it braškė, which is nice. But you can see here all of these little trees. There. These are all originally planted to stop tractors. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to be keeping them or not. And yeah, so this solo by Alco seems to be doing the trick. And in the future, hopefully this becomes fairly redundant for this property, because we'll have animals like cows and horses and sheep, etc. But this is actually really good, because this I'm able to fit into my trailer. And so what that means is that next year I have got the capacity to be able to put up adverts online, and people with properties like this, where they're not there regularly, they don't have the means or capacity to maintain it, and then when the grass gets too long that a normal lawnmower cannot cut, then it's potential business for me. Now the price in which people are willing to pay is usually about 3 to 6 euros per, I'm going to get this wrong, ARA, it's ARA or something like that, and that's only a 10 meter by 10 meter square. So for a hectare, that's 100 times, that's 300 euros on the bottom end, and probably using about 30 litres of petrol. That cut out there, this machine will end up earning me a decent wage to be doing on a couple of summer days out in people's properties. So that's it. This is the next step of the Liberseed project. This is just maintaining, regaining, de-wilding this property. Thanks for watching. Keep following for more episodes. Bye bye.